Raft is a pre-writing technique developed in 1988 by Carol Santa. It's an acronym where the R represents the role of the writer, A is for audience, F means format, T denotes the topic, and S means strong verb or feeling. Because almost all rafts are written from a point of view other than the students and to an audience other than the teacher, it encourages the student to write creatively and requires higher level thinking skills. One benefit of the raft is to give students a fresh way to think about approaching their writing. It provides a nice middle ground between expository writing and free-for-all creative writing. By making students address all the elements of rafts, it also helps with organization, elaboration, and coherence in their writing. Another advantage of rafts is it can be used across all subject areas. Whether you're a white blood cell, a historical character, or a pronoun explaining to a human how and when you're used in communication, the choices are endless. Let's take a look at the Raft material in the Write Tools companion software. The Raft material is located under our Teacher menu, which is from the first item in the pull-down, the Teacher button. Rafts are part of our descriptive writing module. Clicking on the Raft button will bring up the menu for Raft. The first item, Raft, is the material that's written and provided in our descriptive writing module. Looking at that, you'll have information that you can use to help plan a unit or a lesson, probably more a unit on a raft technique. Then the next item is just a nice visual display describing what a raft is. This next screen shows each of the letters in the acronym RAFT and what they stand for, and gives a little bit more information to help define it. We provided a sample sketch or an example to give students an idea of how a raft could be constructed. And then we have provided some items for raft elements if you're stuck on coming up with what some of the roles you'd like to use or audience, what might be some of the formats, and the strong verb or feelings that can help set the tone for the raft. We have not included the topic because there would just be too many to choose from. A raft gives you that extra flexibility. Now, let's take a look at the raft's prompt generator. Let me pull that one up. Let's pretend that I'm teaching a science unit on matter to third graders. As a result of the unit, students should now understand that matter exists in different states, solid, liquid, and gas, and that matter can change states as a result of heating or cooling. So, for my role, let's pretend I don't believe I have anything in the list for what I want to do. So I'm going to just type it in. My role, I'm going to be a frozen water molecule. The audience are water molecules in other states, meaning liquid or gas. And the format I'm going to choose is an advertisement. The topic is I want to tell them about moving to the Crystal Commons, which I'll explain in a minute will be a non-frost-free refrigerator. And the verb that I would like to use to help me set my tone is I'm going to pick persuade, because in my advertisement I want to try to persuade molecules that are liquid or gas water molecules that they'd be better off moving to the crystal commons, and being in a solid state all the time of crystal. Since this is a persuasion piece, even though it's an advertisement, I would at the T-chart form for persuasive writing, but under our expository writing tab on the student forms, depending on your raft, the topic, the format, and the verb or feeling that sets the tone, those items will help you figure out which plan would be best for your students to work with as far as planning their piece of writing. And that as well then will help you determine, especially the format, what type of format you'll use for the writing. In this case, I'll go to the T-chart plan, and I'm going to just start drafting this quickly, but I'm not going to go through the full thing. If I were a teacher, I would want to model this in front of the class and go through the full process. But for now and for time, I'll just go through the first few items. You'll get an idea, and then we'll move on. Let's see, my topic is life in the frosty freezer. The audience are the other water molecules, which are in a gaseous or liquid state. And the purpose is to persuade to move to, instead of the crystal commons, I think I'll call it that frosty freezer. As we're working with T-charts, number notes, plans, those types of plans, we like to have the students get the big ideas out first and then go back in and insert the tell me mores. So for my big idea, since I want to persuade them to move there, maybe I'll talk about the climate and way of life. Next item might be the nice neighborhood. Be the fact that it's a safe environment. And the final item, which is not so much a persuasive piece, but needed in an advertisement, I think, would be how to get to the frosty freezer. Okay, now I'm done with the big ideas. I can shift tab to move back up to my very first tell me more. And in there, under climate and way of life, what's the one thing a point I want to make? Because of the climate, you stay in one constant state. And you don't have to move around a lot. The weather doesn't change. You're not blown all over the place. It's relaxing. Food is close by. Schools. You have no over or underachievers. Maybe for the nice neighborhood, one of the first items would be it's quiet. You have no noisy neighbors full of hot air. And I'd go on from there. Like I said, I'm going to try and make this a little bit shorter, so I've gone ahead and drafted the rest of the T-chart. The nice neighbors, the safety, no traffic collisions to worry about, no gangs of deuterium to steal your oxygen, some of those items there. And then once I had gotten the T-chart done, I'd start looking for a format to use. We have other formats under our formats and rafts, like a brochure, friendly letter, advertising flyer, a sign, a 3-part flyer. I could look at the advertising flyer, and actually that one looks like one I might want to use. Now, I would have to possibly change the color, put a different picture in, list out my text, what I'd want to there, and make any other changes I'd need. I've gone ahead and drafted something out for the Frosty Freezer. Enjoy a fantastic free future at Frosty Freezer Heights. I've used a little alliteration there. I talk about the climate and location, the safe neighborhoods, how to find us, and who the contact person is. So as you can see, just an example of how you can use some of our formats with your rafts to create a document to be handed in for an assignment. If there are no formats within the right tools, remember that Microsoft Word's online facility has just numerous templates you can look at and pick from. There might be something you prefer there. When I use Rafts and the prompts generator, I always try to create at least several options from the prompts to give students an opportunity to pick a format and or a verb or feeling that can help align more with their strengths in writing. So if I were doing something again about a third grade unit on matter for writing, and I'd look at the prompts generator, perhaps another prompt that I might want to create would be, maybe in this case, I'm the gaseous water molecule, and the audience are my parents in the ocean who live as liquid, a liquid molecule in the ocean. And the format would be a letter home. I'm writing a letter home to them. And the topic would be describing what has been going on during my travels. And I'd like to get the water cycle in on this for the student to start working on that. And the verb or feeling, let's see, in this case I think it'd be more of feeling, and I would say maybe it's enthusiasm. That would be another example that I could do. Or I think you're getting the idea, but say you're in 5th grade and you have the human body systems and you've gone over blood and its components. So maybe you're going to let some of the boys enjoy themselves a bit, and you're going to let the role be a military commander, and the audience are his new white blood cell recruits. Maybe the format is a comic book, and the topic is going to be the purpose of the white blood cell, and the verb is going to be preparing for battle, what all they have to do to get ready. And once they're in battle against a bad germ or virus, what's their role? Beside the prompt generator for rafts, we do have a form that can be filled in either by the teacher or in part by the teacher, part by the students, or completely by the students. It's called a Raft assignment sheet. Under the Raft assignment planner, the very first idea is to decide what the topic must be related to. If it's a unit on science about body systems, then you would have body systems there. If it was something about the Civil War and social studies, you would put that down. Then maybe on the body system, you want to narrow the topic down. So maybe your topic needs to be the purpose of the heart, or the importance of the digestive system. And you'd fill in a variety of those and then maybe pick possibly 2 or 3 topics. From there, you can go down and look at the choices which are in pull downs for the role, the author, the format, and the topic you would physically just type in based on what you had chosen from up above. So maybe I want to be a journalist. I'm just grabbing things really quick. Talking to a police officer about, I don't know, maybe it was about an obituary and the topic was mistreatment of a heart for a client or something like that. Those are all kind of a stretch, but you get the idea of how that can be filled in. Finally, when one of those rafts are the preferred item, it gets put in at the top with a name and can be shown to the teacher as far as that's what you've decided to write your raft about. I enjoy using rafts for students because they are such a fresh writing alternative. When they're given more choice in their writing, usually they can migrate towards a format of writing that utilizes their strengths, and as a result, they're more engaged. It's not necessarily easier for you, the teacher, to grade and manage a raft, but I think the benefits of strong student voice and engagement are worth the extra effort.